Greetings all and welcome to my build guide. Specifically today we're going to be talking about the Rogue Specialization Artificer. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because almost everyone who plays Rogue seems to either concentrate on the Tempest and Assassin, both really good specializations, monstrous DPS on both of them. And let me say at the outset, you're probably not going to come quite close DPS wise with the Artificer. That is to say, you're not going to get quite the number of monstrous hits you could with the Assassin or with the Tempest, specifically with 1,000 cuts. But the Artificer offers things that these other specializations don't. Much better crowd control, much better survivability, and in my opinion, this is only my opinion, it's a hell of a lot more fun. And let's be honest, towards the end game, I'm level 22 right now, it doesn't really matter what specialization you're using because you have the gear and everything's going to die anyway. It's just a question of how quickly. But you still have a lot of DPS. It's very good. This is the most fun build, in my opinion, for the Rogue class. Now, those people who, you can see I'm using the dual wielding daggers. Of course, it's a little bit clipping bugged here. Most people who have explored Artificer have used exclusively the bow, and I think the bow is the safer route, going the bow route. But by doing that, you're losing out on a lot of the CQC possibilities that the Artificer class offers a dual-wielding rogue. Now, before I continue, to play this, you absolutely must play a dwarf. If you don't, you're not cool. No, just kidding. I just like playing dwarves, as many of you know. But let's launch into it. Let's look at the build. I'm level 22 right now. And I don't have I didn't bother with Deathblow, but of course all the passives, you need the cunning for the crit chance, you need the dex for attack, and you just need that damage. And the crits are really useful. Sorry, the passives are really useful, and they don't take up slots, so passives are all really great. Now for this build, your bread and butter power probably is spinning blades. I'm lucky enough to have a ring that offers 30% extra damage. Max out spinning blades, absolutely. I mean, this flank attack's okay. I don't really use it, as you can see. Twin Fangs is okay. I don't really use it. Really, the bread and butter power is the spinning blades. This is the ability you want to use. The passives are very good, very useful. Keep them. So for this build, this is what you really want to concentrate on, spinning blades. It offers unparalleled CQC possibilities because it hits multiple targets. And the number of hits, and with high crit rating and high damage, it's going to do a ton of damage. So when the going gets tough and you're really intimate with the enemies, that's what you want to hit. You want to hit crit. You want to hit the spinning blades. Let's look at this chart, or rather this tree. I don't even bother with caltrips. I don't think they're particularly useful. But these two passives, besides the fact that they're passives and they don't take up unnecessary slots in the limited number you have here on the PC. These passives are really useful. Looked like it hurt is, I would argue, essential for any Artificer, specifically the dagger one. But the reason is simple. Whenever you score a critical hit, you regenerate stamina. Now, the thing about regenerating stamina is your bread and butter attribute, if you will, once again, for the Artificer. And I'll get to the reason why. You have reduced cooldowns. We'll talk about that. Every crit you hit, every crit you make, gives you 10 extra stamina. Now that's really valuable because assuming you're building it right, you have the right equipment, the right gear, you're going to be getting lots of crit hits. That's important. This is cheap shot's really nice because Sundering Armor is nice. It gives you more cunning. Good stuff. Now, there is some flexibility here, although I would argue you should absolutely take Look Like It Hurt. You don't have to take Cheap Shot. You could take something else. That's up to you. Maybe you like poison weapons, so you might want to go for that instead. I'm level 22, so no. For this tree, these are essentials, I think, for any rogue. Maxed out rogue, Lost in Shadows, or Stealth rather. These passives, the easy to miss, the threat reduction, very important. You don't want to be a threat. You want the aggro off of you. You want the aggro on the warriors. Very useful. Cunning as well. Passives. Evasion. I mean, that's necessary to get to this. You need evade. Evade is once again, a bread and butter power for any rogue, specifically if you're dual wielding, because you're not a tank and you're going to have to get out of the way a lot of the time. And the best way to do that is evade. Super short cooldown, and doesn't cost that much stamina. This is optional. If you want to take this, it's up to you. I just wanted more passive power. You can go for other things, but once again, you have limited options as far as the numbers are concerned, right? So those are the basics, right? The basic stuff. Now you can see I have an almost maxed out Artificer tree here. Now the thing about the Artificer is, once again, it's not a DPS monster in the same sense of an assassin or a Tempest, but it's a lot of fun, and it has tons of possibilities for squad support, basically. Now, this is a very overlooked ability, Spike Trap. You'll see in my gameplay that you'll see after I actually discuss this, that Spike Trap is really, really useful. First off, when 300 weapon damage is good if you have high weapon damage. You can score crits at higher levels in excess of 2,000 points of damage, and on top of that, you're knocking most enemies to their ass. Now, I would argue if you're going to go dual wielding like I have for this build, that's almost essential. You're going to need the crowd control, and the thing is, it hits multiple targets. That means if 2 or 3 guys, mooks, are running at you, and you lay down a spike trap, boom, they're going to go fly in the air, and you have enemies that are disabled for a while. You can you can go in and finish them off with your daggers. So even if this were just, you have to go through this anyway to get to the other parts of the tree, but it's really, really useful power. Not very good against big guys that you can't knock down, or dragons or what have you, but it's very good mook control. So set them up. You want the damage bonus. It's really useful anyway. Just a good thing. Opportunity knocks. Probably the most useful passive in the entire Artificer tree, maybe of all rogues. When an ally critically hits, you take advantage of their success faster with reduced cooldown times. So basically, if you have allies with a nice crit setup, such as Sarah with her bow, and even Iron Bull that I spec'd out to have a pretty high cunning, and Solus with a relatively high cunning or relatively high crit chance, your cooldowns are going to be super low. And that's why I said before, going back briefly to the sabotage tree, why Look Like It Hurt is so important, because you're going to be able to spam your abilities, and you can see it in the gameplay over and over and over again, essentially, once you have the party assembled with good crit chances. The only thing you're going to be in trouble with is your lack of stamina. And this is really useful in this sense because, well, every crit you hit, and you're going to be getting lots of crits, you're going to get your stamina restored. As far as this is concerned, this would be useful if you're an archer. I'm not playing archer, and let's face it, focus abilities are not obligatory. I want to expand into other things. And by the way, I didn't take Watch Your Step because the only thing, okay, you can fling enemies further and your stealth doesn't wear off. I don't think that's that important. It's up to you, though. You can always go for that. Look at this side, Elemental Mines. On BioWare forums, hailed almost universally, as totally useless, but if you see in the gameplay section of this video, they are excellent crowd control and excellent just mook destroyers. I mean, they destroy mooks. Of course, you need good weapon damage to back the damage up, but you can score crits with Elemental Mines. They have secondary effects such as chill and burn and shock, and essential to this is throw everything. You might think, all your stamina is going to be used up. Why would you want to do that? Well, you want as many Elemental Mines out there as possible. You want dozens, because all that damage is going to add up, and it's going to take care of the trash mobs really effectively. And more to the point, there are a lot of dragon battles that you have to fight dragonlings in, the little dragons, and they're annoying. Now, I'll admit that throw everything, or rather Elemental Mines, they're not that great against dragons, but they're great against the little dragonlings that are attacking you while you're using your spinning blades, which is the bread and butter attack power of this particular build against the dragon. So you chuck your Elemental Mines, you hit that dragon, Your crit cooldown, your enemy, your squad's getting crits, and so of course you're getting those super low cooldowns. And you can use spinning blades over and over and over again this way, and you can chuck elemental mines over and over this way, and take them down. Very, very useful. This just gives the entire party a 5% higher chance of getting a critical hit, and gives you a dexterity bonus on top of that. What's to complain about there? And as I mentioned, the higher the chance the party has to get a critical hit, the lower your cooldowns are going to be. The more you can spam your abilities if you want. And the final side here, this side of the tree, fallback plan. Very useful. You're not always going to use it. I use it in some parts of the gameplay video, but it's a fallback plan, right? It's very nice. And the fantastic thing about this, it has essentially unlimited, I've tested this, range. That means you can place this 500 meters in the back, and if you're in the thick of a battle, if you want to, you can hit the fallback plan and you'll be teleported back to where you placed the lantern. I debated initially whether bait and switch is worth it. I don't think taking your closest enemy with you is necessarily a good thing. You want to get away from the enemies. But the extra duration, I find, is pretty useful if you want to stay in the thick of battle for a longer time. And so this is useful. It can save your life, absolutely, without a doubt. Very, very, very nice. Not a damaging thing, but this is kind of rogue magic. It's teleport, basically. This is a teleport. Save your ass. Tricks of the trade. Nice passive bonuses. Damage bonus on duration of status effects. That would include chill, burn, soul assist, rift mage things, and what have you. And you get the willpower bonus as well. So that's what obviously you can add, once you have all of that, you can add whatever you want. You can expand even more on the stealth tree, or rather the subterfuge tree, or you can put more into sabotage. Maybe you want to finally take those poison blades. That's poison weapons, rather. It's totally up to you. I'm just talking right here with this build about the essentials, the things you absolutely need. Obviously, if you're an archer, I think the archer thing would be quite similar. If you went archer, you would just be focusing more on the archery tree. In fact, entirely, you wouldn't be bothering with the dual blades. But I think the strength of the dual blades, in conjunction with the artificer, is the fact that you're able to CQC really well, and you have a lot of crowd control in conjunction with the elemental mines, as well as those delicious spike traps. You'll see a couple of times in the video gameplay that I'm just flinging enemies there. You hate mages? Chuck a mine trap down, a spike trap down, watch them fly, and just tear them to pieces. Now, as far as gear is concerned, yeah, I have really good gear. I'm wearing Dragon Bone, Shrewd, Agile, Prowler armor, and I got stats up to the wazoo. This is really useful, plus 50 maximum stamina. I would, if you can find this amulet, and I don't remember off the top of my head where I got it, I think off of a dragon skull or corpse. But once you get this, I would say this is the amulet you want to take for the artificer, just because she's going to need as much stamina as possible. Why? Plus 50 stamina, and then you have 5. You can toss 1 extra mine per 5 points of stamina. That's 10 extra elemental mines you're chucking, which means 10 times 50% weapon damage, and you do the maths. Very, very useful. I would argue if you can find this amulet, the superb stamina amulet, that's what you want to go with. Other things are optional. I've kept this enhanced spinning blades thing just because it's a bread and butter damage dealer for the setup I have. Superb ring of attack. These are other optional things. Obviously, you want to outfit yourself with really nice armor, and I think Shrewd Agile for a dwarf at least is the best you can get because you can't use the Dalish one. Pretty decent helm, and you can see what I got here. In this case, it's the best you can pretty much get. I got the superb demon slaying and all these other things. I'm not wanting for equipment. Obviously, you want really good equipment. And you could argue, of course, that good equipment and good crafted equipment, like this stuff in particular, kind of vitiates the necessity of even bothering with builds. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Let's face it, in endgame, you're going to be really powerful anyway, and it's not going to really matter a whole lot, the specifics, because you're probably going to destroy everything. So it's a question of how you're going to destroy the things, how you're going to kill your enemies. But even earlier on, when it's not all really easy, there are a lot of abilities the Artificer offers on the battlefield. The squad support, the passives, the crit chance, as well as the ability to survive via teleport. And let me just give you an example of what I mean when I say the distance is unlimited. It's just, you can go anywhere you want, basically. And there you go. I mean, so if you're... One thing that's really useful about fallback plan is, let's say you're going to try a battle where you just don't know if you're going to survive. Everyone drops, you're still alive. You place that thing maybe 1,000 feet away, you're going to survive and you can live to fight another day. So it has its uses. Anyway, that is the build in a nutshell. The squad you're taking with you, that's completely up to you. I would recommend having another rogue with you. What I want to try is taking Varric with me. I haven't done that, and just laying on the elemental mines everywhere. But since I'm romancing Sarah, I just take her with me. And, Solus, whatever. Obviously, the warrior is up to you as well. But the reason why I chose Iron Bull is because he's Reaver, and he gets those cunning bonuses for higher crit chances, which means your chances of getting a cooldown reduction on your abilities are increased because he is a Reaver. So little things you can do with the party. Ultimately, it's not that important, but it's completely up to you. But anyway, to actually talk about some of the things, demonstrate some of the things I talked about, I have a bit of gameplay, so you can check it out. It's nothing spectacular. It could go faster. I'm an older guy, so I'm taking my time with things. But you can see really nice crowd control, and you still demolish the trash mobs, and it's not weak against dragons. I mean, because of the cooldown reductions, you can spam spinning blades against dragons over and over and over again. You're not going to quite be in the league of the Tempest, or, for that matter, an Assassin, but neither the Tempest nor the Assassin have the flash of that. I mean, it's just... Nothing beats that, in my opinion. It's just a lot of fun, and you can. And plus, I mean, you can teleport. It's the only specialization, the only class you can teleport. Pretty much anywhere you want. I mean, how many what was that? 1,000 meters almost? Well, probably not quite, but still. My point is, enjoy the build, guys. I hope you can make use of it. I hope you can have fun with it. It's been, for me, the most fun rogue build. I tried the Tempest and Assassin. I thought, yeah, really good, boring as hell. And if you can do it, play a Dwarf. It makes it extra fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. Enjoy the gameplay. And if there's another build that comes to mind that is hipster, that not everyone is doing, I will be sure to make a guide about it. Everyone, thanks for watching again, and take care. Bye-bye.